When all the children in our town disappeared, everyone was heartbroken. When all the children of our town reappeared, everyone was terrified. December 25th, 2018 was the worst day our town had seen since its founding. People call it the Christmas of the lost. My heart yearns to shudder just writing about it. Hundreds of parents laid their gifts under the Christmas tree the night before. Each parent woke up to an identical scene as they went to sleep. Cookies and milk were untouched. Stockings bulged with undisturbed treats, and gifts rest in their places under the Christmas trees. Cold of the lack of children's joy, my wife Nina and I were no exception. I remember us tiptoeing past our son's bedroom as we carried our gifts from Santa down the hall. Nina was tipsy on eggnog, and I had a bit of a holiday buzz going on myself. We giggled and shushed each other as we stumbled through the house. It's one of my best memories, because it's the last time we ever laughed together. Hell, I can't even remember if I laughed at all since then. Ronnie was sleeping in his bed, as he always was. I know this because my wife and I bickered about her, going there to give him a goodnight kiss. Looking back now, I thank God that she won that battle. It brings me something close to a hint of solace, to know that some of his last memories of his house were spent under his mother's love. We set up his tricycle, placing the largest yellow bow atop on the handlebars as we could find. Nina's mother's tradition dedicated that we place an orange at the bottom of his stocking, but the rest was filled with little toys and candy. I groaned as she handed me a full plate of cookies. Why do we make so many again? I joked. Because it's fun. I don't know about you, but when Ronnie and I are making them, a small part of me actually believes they're eaten by Father Christmas. She blushed as she placed an amber strand of hair behind her dainty ear. The thick peanut butter cups atop the cookies were killing me that year. I remember choking on my own saliva, turned into bittery syrup by sugar. We got it done, though, leaving exactly one cookie uneaten for Ronnie to sneak in the morning. The milk, however, was all mine. We woke to the sounds of sirens and the sun shining through our windows. Nina's bedside clock read 9:18 a.m. As much as I tried to fight it, a cold chill enveloped each cell in my body. We knew something was wrong. It's not normal for Ronnie to sleep past 7 o'clock, but especially not on Christmas. Nina took off running to his room on instinct, fearing that he left the house and gotten hit by a car or injured. I held my breath, praying to hear his little sleepy voice. But so far, my wife's calls had gone unanswered. "Chris! Ronnie's not here!" She yelled down the hall. "What do you mean he's not here? You haven't even checked the living room. Chris, I'm telling you, our baby's not fucking here!" She choked out through sobs. Her footsteps boomed through the house, and I heard the front door slam shut as she left. My breath started coming in faster, in larger puffs, as I tried to process the quickly unfolding situation. The robe I wore the night before was disgusting on my skin. Nothing felt right. It's like in that moment, I already knew that the joy in my life was over. I just couldn't accept it. Thousands of scenarios invaded my rationality from the corners I'd done so, while at keeping them hidden in. Each fear I've ever had as a parent that was always out of reach for someone like me was now all too tangible. When I opened my front door, I was met with an overwhelming number of sobs and wails. Dozens of people on the street were outside of their homes. Most of them were crying hysterically. Some wore blank expressions of shock. Others demanded to search every person's home on the block who didn't even have children. I held my wife as she tumbled to the ground. An officer had told her every child in the country had gone missing Christmas Eve night. My brain fought with itself to how I should feel. One hand, hundreds of children kidnapped at the same time would be hard to house, even harder to hide. On the other hand though, the irrational part of my mind told me something unnatural had happened altogether, and none of us would ever see our children again. As the months went on and the season changed, most of the parents in the town had reached the same heart-rendering conclusion. Until this morning. Nina and I still married, though we sleep in separate bedrooms now. She got on this kick right away about trying for another baby, which I am fully against. First off, I felt that if we had another child, he would be replacing Ronnie. Even worse, we'd be accepting the fact that he was never coming back. We didn't know that. I always held out heartbreaking hope that they'd find him. Find all of the missing kids. Secondly, if something in this town was taking children, I certainly didn't want to give them a new target. Nina's screams woke me from a heavily medicated sleep. Chris! It's Ronnie! He's home! The covers are thrown in the corner of the room as I sprang out of my now cold bed. Each step closer to my son fills my heart with happiness. I feared I no longer possess. The long-lost and dearly missed sound of his voice stops me cold. Whoever is talking to Nina is not a little boy. His voice sounds low and detached, like it's being run through a voice synthesizer. My stomach heavens when I finally bring myself to finish taking his steps to his bedroom. A mutilated, mangled body lay in the bed that was once meant for a son. Don't get me wrong, he's alive and healthy. He just came back wrong. His face is a mangle of features that seem random at best. It was as if Picasso had genetically designed a human and brought him to life. One leg shorter than the other by 6 inches. His left arm is thinner and 4 shades lighter than his right. His left eye placed haphazardly on his face is the one of the only qualities that provides to me that it's really him. The eye on the right looks like it belongs to someone else entirely. Once again, the street is thick with police officers, but fire rescue is here this time too. Parents are holding disfigured children as they're laid on stretchers, each one yelling about how they're fine and don't need treatment. I caught eyes with a little girl who lived across the street from us, and I recognized one of them as my son's. Whatever happened, it's as if each child was put into a machine, had the DNA all mixed and randomized and spit back out. The children walk, talk, eat and play like they always have. It's almost impossible to tell whose is whose anymore. This Christmas, I'm hearing whispers of a reckoning of sorts. The town's leaders and religious figures have labeled these children, and some of them their own, as abominations. I've heard there will be a massive event to return these children to the melting pots which they came from. I'm writing this as a warning and for proof for Ronnie down the line to know that his dad and mom love him and never regret a single thing about who he is. We're taking him the hell out of here. By the time they got a child missing, we will be long gone. Surely, there's somewhere in the world that will greet him with acceptance and love. We're just happy to have him back. Though, I can't help but wonder what surprises Nina and I will wake up to this Christmas Day morning. Thank you all so much for listening to tonight's story. Now I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my Patreons who helped make this channel possible. Thank you, Breaker19, for all your help and support. You guys are amazing.